Let's say you walk into the dispensary and they have 3 options for bud. One's 15%, one's 23%, and one's 30%. Is that all the information that you need to buy your bud, or do you need a little bit more than that? For some people, they really only need to hear the THC percent. They only need one number, and whatever one has the biggest one on it, that's the one they're gonna buy. And hey, let me tell you, there are much better ways to shop for your weed. There's much more to really good quality weed than high THC percentages. And if you're one of those people that only goes, oh, I smoke 25% and higher, nothing else, you might be leaving a lot of good bud on the table. So let's start with, there's over 100 cannabinoids and over 400 terpenes in cannabis. You can find a lot of different things in there that all affect your high. It's not just the THC, but we're kind of caught into this weird system where that's one of the only metrics that we go by. I think it's weird that most labels, most legal cannabis you buy is only going to tell you about the THC and CBD percent. Some of them don't even tell you about terpenes. They don't tell you any amount of terpenes or even any of the terpenes that might be in there. A lot of places just test for THC and CBD. This is part of legalization. That's the only gauge they have for potency is THC. So some places are like, oh, you can't have flower over 20%. They used to have weird rules in Florida where you had to have low potency flower. Couldn't be over a certain percentage. But that still didn't mean you couldn't get good weed. But creating these weird systems gives us weird stuff to work with when we're actually buying good bud. You don't just want the most THC in your bud, but a lot of people just approach it that way. But if you take a hit of some weed that's 12% and you take a hit of some weed that's 24%, the one that has twice as much THC should get you twice as high, right? It's not going to do it. It's not how it works. There's a lot of other factors that are involved. And just because something has twice as much THC doesn't mean it's going to get you twice as high. Weed is a lot different than alcohol. And a lot of people, they want to try to make it or compare it the same. Well, this one's high THC gets me high. This one's high alcohol gets me high. But there's a lot more factors than just one thing. Alcohol is the only thing getting you drunk when you drink. There's other flavors and other things that might help, but alcohol is the only thing getting you drunk. THC isn't the only thing getting you high. One of the things that I hate about testing is that it can be a little bit dishonest. They're not testing every bit of the batch of weed that they're selling you. Some places they're harvesting hundreds, thousands of plants, but they're only going to test a small amount of bud. Now, let me tell you, do you think they're going to grab any old bud for the test results? Or do you think they're going to handpick the best, frostiest looking buds that are going to give the best test results? Some places even they roll their bud in a little bit of keef. They find the tinier, frosty buds that have a large percentage of trichomes on them. Roll them in a little bit more loose trichomes. Send that off for testing. But the chances of the weed in your container that says 30% on it actually being 30% is pretty low. The majority of the batch is lower than what's tested. If they're like, yeah, bro, we got this new strain, OG Kush, 25%. Just got the test results back. Probably every bit of bud you're going to buy that says OG Kush on it is going to be less than that 25% that you got tested. So some places are doing dishonest things to game the results. But if you ran a weed business, you'd pick the best nugs to be sent off for your test results so you could have the biggest sticker on it if you know more people are going to buy it. It's common sense when you think about it from a business perspective. Oh, that's what they want? Sell them that. Now, there are cases where a lot of THC is going to get you more high. Like edibles, if you have twice as much THC in your edible, you're probably going to get twice as high. But that's processed by your body differently. You're digesting that. But I will say I would rather have 1,000 milligram full spectrum extract, like an RSO or something, than 1,000 milligrams of THC distillate. I'm going to get higher on the full spectrum extract. It's going to be a better high, and it's not just going to be this dull, sleepy high like taking a bunch of distillate is. You would rather have 1,000 milligrams of RSO that only has 600 or 700 milligrams of THC than 1,000 milligrams of THC distillate. In my experience, I think all those extra cannabinoids and terpenes definitely impact the high, whether you're smoking them, vaping them, or digesting them. So I used to be into big numbers, bro. I call them size queens now. If you're just shopping and trying to get the biggest percent in the store, oh, you got anything higher than that? Anything higher than that? Anything higher than that? You just turn into that weirdo and none of the bud tenders like you. And then you're going to constantly be sad, bro. I saw a guy one time buy weed that was 29% and they assured him it was the highest percent. And then he overheard another bud tender say, oh, I found something that was 31%. The dude's soul left his body, bro. I could tell he went home and cried like, I got 29% when they had a 31%. Bro. You can just, it affects some people so much. It took me a little while to let go of THC percent being the most important thing. But let me tell you, when you let go of thinking that it's all about THC percent and that I got to find the highest number, when you let that go and you just start buying weed, bro, it's so much better. There's such a weight off your shoulders. you're going to have a better experience overall. You're going to get lower percent weed that's going to get you higher than all those big numbers you've been chasing, and it's going to open your eyes. Now, I'm not saying all weed with low percent on it is the best weed, but just because something has a bigger number on it doesn't mean it's better. The best weed for you is the one that smells the best for you. Looks can sometimes be deceiving, but they are a good indicator for getting a general idea of how it was grown. But you want to find the ones that smell the best. And honestly, some places you can't even smell the bud anymore. I can't smell anything when I go into the dispensary. I just try out random stuff, and whichever one I like the best, I just go back and get more of that if they have it. Shopping has become a little bit more detached for me. Most of the time, I just say, grab me whatever. I don't care. I don't care about percent. I don't care about sativa, indica. I don't care about anything. Just because I can't smell. I do know there are a few good things in the dispensary, and I'll try to get them if I see them. But if they don't have them, I'm not that concerned. So I have had a ton of weed, over 25%, over 30%. I've had some shit that said 35, 36, 37%. I've had really high stuff where I'm like, it doesn't seem like it's that much THC. But, you know, you could tell the shit's really fucking frosty. But that stuff doesn't get me the highest I've ever been. The best high I've ever got was off weed under 20% THC. And a lot of times before that, I would have skipped over the 17%, but I wanted to try it out. And I smoked it, and I was like, holy fuck, bro. Opened my eyes that day, and then I stopped chasing big numbers, started buying just the ones that smelled the best or something I've never had before. I stopped just looking for big numbers, and weed became better. Try it out. Stop being a size queen. Stop chasing big numbers. And you might be closer to finding the best weed you ever smoked. Well, thank you for watching. Don't forget to check out my Twitch streams. We go live after 9 p.m. Eastern, almost every night for a smoke sesh. I missed a couple days because my stomach has been just, ugh. But I think we might be on tonight, so definitely tune in. And if you want to hear my thoughts on sativa and indica and why it doesn't matter as much as most people think, check out this video. It's got some great info. Peace out, my dudes.